So last week I did my worst books of 2018, so it's probably time that I should do my best books of 2018 because there were so many that I so enjoyed and just want to talk about more. So without further ado, here is my best books of 2018 list. The first book I want to talk about is Failure to Communicate because I read this at the beginning of the year in like January, I think it was, and I still can't stop thinking about it. It is hands down the best story I have ever read with autism representation. I have never seen autism representation so accurate in my life. Everything I read in there, I was going, I do that, I do that, I do that, I understand that. Every single time I was like, yes, I know this. And also, this book got me into sci-fi. I never thought I'd really read sci-fi. I thought I was definitely going to be more of a movie and TV sci-fi fan, but Failure to Communicate changed all of that. It was a brilliant, brilliant sci-fi, all about an autistic woman who has to try and deal with the prejudice surrounding her for being autistic, while also trying to deal with peace deals between two warring alien species. It was an incredible, fantastic, diverse thrill ride of a book that I absolutely adored, and I've now raced out to get the prequel and now the sequel, and I cannot wait to read the rest of the series next year. Second on this list has to be House of M. I read this and it immediately knocked Marvel 1602 off my favourite Marvel comic of all time, and I didn't think that was possible because Marvel 1602 had everything, but House of M had everything and more. It's the only way I can describe it because it follows Scarlet Witch after she has lost vision and she's losing touch with reality, and because of several different factors throughout the book, she gets so desperate she shouts the words, "No more mutants," and the mutants, apart from about 200, disappear like that. They are gone. So then it's down to the rest of the X-Men and the Avengers to try and fix this and to try and stop the humans from eradicating the X-Men forever and the ramifications of losing most of the X-Men. It was fantastic. The rest of the series was amazing. I desperately want this in a film. It's just, oh my god, it was good. It was so good. As soon as I finished House of M, I raced to get the next few because I just could not comprehend not continuing on with this story, and if this doesn't get made into a Marvel film, once Marvel gets the rights to the X-Men, I'm going to be shocked because this would just make such a fantastic movie. You have no idea. Next on this no particular order has to be Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. Now, I'm not going to explain the storyline to this one. Everyone knows the storyline to Crooked Kingdom and obviously Six of Crows because these are some of the most popular books on BookTube, and I adored these. I totally get the hype. So many times now I've read a really hyped book and it hasn't lived up to expectations, but this one, oh my god, I completely and utterly fell in love with it. I fell in love with the world, the mythology, the characters, even the romances I enjoyed, to the point where at the end of this one, when all the coupley stuff was happening, I was nearly crying, and I never cry at coupley moments because they're just not my thing, but in this case, oh, I was in for it. I was totally in for it. I adored it. I loved the heist elements of it and everything. It was just so good. I adore this. I cannot wait for Leigh Bardugo to finally write the third book in the series, which she has confirmed is happening at some point in the future, and I cannot wait. Next has got to be American Gods by Neil Gaiman. I adored this book. I adore Neil Gaiman books anyway, but this one was just fantastic. I had this on a really good recommendation from a friend, and her recommendation was not wrong. This was an amazing read. It was dark, it was twisty, it was turny, it was filled with so many diverse religious gods and things, because you had gods from Egypt, you had American gods, obviously you had Christian gods, and everything in between basically. They were either main characters or they were at least mentioned, and I adored that about this book. I adored all the different types of mythology and gods and everything all put into this book and weaved together so well. I've never seen so many different types of mythology mixed together so well than in this book. I am a bit biased towards this because it was my first Tome Topple read, and it's the first Tome Topple read that I actually finished, but at the same time, this was just the most incredible book. I trust Neil Gaiman anyway, but this book just sealed it in my mind that he is a master writer, and I will read anything at all that he ever writes. I mean it. He's just incredible. Next has to be Invictus. Now this one was basically Guardians of the Galaxy but with time travel, and that is a concept that I can get behind so easily. This also had alopecia representation, which I've never seen in a novel before, ever. I've never seen it on any type of media, actually. I only know people who have the condition, but apart from that, I've never really seen it anywhere. So this was a fantastic and fascinating read, and above all else, it was really, really funny and a really good time to read, and I absolutely loved it. Next was the Missy Chronicles. Now this one is a compilation of 5 different stories all about Missy from Doctor Who. Now Missy, if you didn't know, is the Master. Now the Master for me is my top villain of Doctor Who ever. Forget the Daleks, forget the Cybermen, despite the fact that Daleks are actually turning up in the New Year's special at last. I'm so excited. Anyway, I adore the Master. The Master has been my favourite villain ever since he first turned up in the... forgotten the name of the episode, but the one with Professor Yarda. That one. Ever since then, I have adored John Sims' Master. So when Missy turned up, I was really, really excited. And especially when she was actually revealed to be the Master, I was even more excited, and I fell in love with her entirely. So when I read this, I was slightly iffy because I was like, are you actually going to capture Missy well? And the writers really did. They captured Missy's character perfectly. She was the right amount of chaotic, neutral, slightly evil kind of thing with fantastical adventures in time and space, and I absolutely loved her. And one of my favourite things was the fact that 13 actually made a very, very, very tiny, minuscule appearance, and this was before I watched the series, so I got very excited to see 13. Even that tiny brief moment was amazing. I adored this. I flew through it. It was brilliant. I loved it. I cannot recommend it enough for any fan of Missy ever. This was genius. I also absolutely adored Nevernight this year. It was just everything I wanted and more. There was assassins, there was blood, guts, gore and violence, there were plot twists, it was funny, it was just everything I wanted in a book, basically, and it was just so good. I've been really iffy going into this because I'd heard quite a few mixed reviews about Nevernight before I read it, but when I read it, I was sucked in from the first page, and after that, I just flew through this book in like 2 days, which never happens when they're quite chunky, because this is actually about 400, nearly 500 pages, and usually that takes me about 3 days. Not this time. I flew through this, and I cannot stop thinking about it and wanting to read Dark Dawn, but I can't read Dark Dawn because Dark Dawn isn't out yet, and I haven't even read God's Grave, because I put off reading God's Grave until Dark Dawn comes out, and that's not coming out until September next year, and I really need it now. I really, really want it now so I can just binge this entire series. I'm so excited to binge it next year. You have no idea how excited I am to binge this series. Oh boy, I can't wait. But Nevernight as a book was just fantastic. I can't describe it further than just absolutely fantastic. And if you're in any doubt about reading it, read it. It's so good. It's so good. The last 3 now I want to mention are all by V. Schwab, so without any sort of particular order, I'm just going to go right into it, and the first one has to be City of Ghosts. Now this is V. Schwab's first middle grade, and I was slightly iffy going into it because obviously she's never read middle grade before, and middle grade for me is always very hit and miss. It has to be sort of older middle grade, if that makes sense, and yeah, it's a very, very sort of thin line for me with middle grade, but this one was absolutely fantastic. All about a little girl who can see ghosts and ends up going to Edinburgh and being surrounded by ghosts and stuff, and I love ghost stories like this. They are absolutely fantastic, and it really made me want to visit Edinburgh, so I can't fault it. It's just so good, and I cannot wait for Tunnel of Bones now. It was just so So good. And finally, to no surprise, my books of the year, my absolute top books of the year have to be Vicious and Vengeful. Oh boy, did I enjoy these books. I was gleefully in love with these books. I didn't think V. Schwab could top Darker Shade of Magic for me. I really didn't. I thought Darker Shade of Magic was going to be my thing and it was going to be my favourite series of hers ever. No, Vicious and Vengeful. It was everything I wanted in a book. I know I just said that about Nevernight, but this was everything I wanted and then everything I didn't know I wanted in a series. It's got dark, morally grey characters, superpowers, and the main characters are trying to kill each other with as much blood, guts and gore as possible. It was everything. It was like having a religious experience reading this because it was everything I have ever wanted in a story. I have never found a series of books or TV or film that has covered morally grey, villainous characters with superpowers like this. Ever. The closest I've gotten to it is BBC Sherlock and Moriarty, who Sherlock is morally grey, Moriarty is just plain evil. And that's the closest I've ever gotten. This, on the other hand, was two morally grey characters with completely different ideology, with superpowers, and we all know how I feel about superpowers, and superpower beings are my favourite, and they're trying to kill each other. Written by V. Schwab. Oh God, I couldn't stop reading this. I binged both of these, and I'm so glad I did, because I don't think I could have lasted the 5-year wait between the books, and I don't know how I'm going to survive the 5-year possible wait until the next one, if the next one's ever written, because we don't know if V. Schwab's ever going to write another one, because this one was so hard to write, but I need it. If she ever gets the opportunity to write another one, I'm going to be there crying until I get it in my hands. Then I'll probably cry again because I'll have a new one. I'm just, I want to marry this book. I genuinely want to marry this book because it was just too good. It was too good. It was too good, and nothing's ever going to live up to this. Ever again. Ever. Like, nothing is going to beat this. If something beats this, it's going to take some serious going. It is going to have to be... It's going to have to be a miracle, quite frankly, because, quite frankly, this book was just too good. And nothing is ever going to beat this. Ever. If it does, I'm going to marry the author immediately, because my mind was blown at this and I can't stop talking about it. It was just so good. It was just so good. And I'm going to stop now because otherwise I'm going to be here for the next 2 hours just repeating the words, it was just so good, over and over and over again, because I have no words for the villain's duology. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give me a thumbs up. Comment down below with some of your favourite books of 2018, and if you've read any of these books, tell me what you thought about them. I'll also leave a link down below to all of my social media if you want to check it out. And if you want to see any more of my videos, please click subscribe here, and over here will be the link to my previous video. But until next time, guys, bye!